guys, and welcome to the handover video for the fantastic Chausson Titanium Premium 788. This is based on the Ford Transit automatic 170 brake horsepower island bed model. So we'll have a walk around the outside first of all, show you the outside facilities. So we have your fridge vents, which are there, which you must keep clear at all times. During winter use, you may want to put a winter cover on there to stop any drafts and to help the fridge heat up better, heat up on the outside to cool down on the inside. You remove this cover and then you put a cover behind that. Like I say, you mustn't cover them normally though. It needs the free flowing of air. So inside here we have your toilet cassette. Your toilet cassette basically pops out. It's in a lockable compartment. Got these keys, which are here. Pop the key in, and this pops out. That then reveals your cassette. The cassette comes out by lifting this handle, sliding out like so. When you're emptying the cassette, we'll pivot this, undo the cap, and tip. When you're tipping, push that button and that'll stop it glugging back and that'll allow it to siphon. Once you're done, fill up with chemical and you'll see different markers on there which will say 50, 60 and 120 millilitres, and you can pour your chemical into there and then pour back in and go from there. You can also, if you prefer, use tablets which just drop in. Tiny bit of water and then slide back in and ensure that that is locked in. Your toilet cassette from there. We move back. We've then got our barbecue point. Barbecue point is there. Bayonet fitting goes on the end. And then to operate it, twist that valve so it's in line. You'll have a pigtail and things such as that with your barbecue that you provided. You've got storage in the back. This garage space, massive space, height adjustable in here. These shutters will automatically drop down as you drop the bed. The bed's currently in its highest position, so as you can see that gives you a massive amount of space there for bikes, should you wish, inside that garage area. Another means of access point from the back, and you've got your light, which is in this bottom corner. So all your belongings are kind of in here at the moment. We've got your mains lead that it comes with, it's got your fresh water, point for your shower, which is there, which attaches on the opposite side, which I'll show you in a moment. We've got your fire extinguisher, we've got your rafter on this particular one, and your awning winder, because this vehicle has the awning that's fitted to, which is available and in a separate video which will be attached. We've got your details here and all your instructions for your motorhome Wi-Fi that's been fitted to this vehicle, instructions for your aerial, and details and separate box for your TV. Your loose fitting carpets are there. You've also got your silver screens for the front, cab carpets, and so on and so forth in that area. Inside the garage, it's heated. We've got that duct. Any of these ducts that you see around the vehicle, you can adjust the amount of flow through the air by closing that flap. Also in the garage, we've got a mains power socket and a 12-volt socket as well. This is the towing eye for the vehicle, and that is your inflation kit for the tyres, should you hopefully never need it. Back of the vehicle, we've got your back top locker, which is on gas struts. We've then got your high level brake light and your camera, which is mounted just below that high level brake light. On the opposite side of the vehicle, we've got your exhaust point for your heater. This will get quite warm when your heater's running. This is for your exhaust fumes coming from your diesel heating. And then we've got the bottom, we've got your gas bottle, space for a 13kg bottle in there. 6kg is standard, but 13kg. And your pigtail that goes direct onto your regulator, so it fits onto there. The rubber pigtail is currently in your book pack. Moving forward, we've got your fitting for your external shower hose, which I've shown you inside the garage. And then we've got your mains hookup point, which is there. Mains lead, when you're pulling it out, push that device in and pop out from there and push it. Then here we've got one space, which is your service locker. Inside your service locker, you've got your water fill up. So to fill up your water, pull this out like so, take the cap off, fill up with water. Dead straightforward. Once you're done, water will come out the top, put the cap on, slide it back, job done. If you ever need to get into it to clean it, obviously ensure that the water tank's empty first of all. Take that out, then you'll be able to clean inside it. We've then got this valve, which the instructions are there, dead straightforward. Flat, you're going to fill it to the maximum level. Up, you're going to fill it to the minimum level, which is about 20 litres, so water's going to start to flow out from underneath. Just while we're on that subject, directly underneath, we've got these two blue pipes. You've got a bung, which is inside your instruction pack. That bung needs to go onto there, onto this one, prior to filling up with water. If you don't, water will just come out. And that's something that during winter use, or if you're ever draining the vehicle down, you pull that bung off, which is just a push fit connection, and that then will enable you to drain the water down without having to run your pump systems or anything like that. Moving back into this service hatch, on this side we've got your electrics. So we've got your 12 volt fuse box, clearly indicating which fuse does which, and then we've got our mains fuse box. Our main breaker, much like you'd have a circuit breaker at home, you can push that test switch. If that pops down, then you've got mains power coming in. If it doesn't pop down, you haven't got mains power coming in, so it's a problem then either with the mains lead or your campsite. So it's a simple test before you go and find out that you've not got mains, and before you traipse to the campsite office. It's a simple test, basically pushing that button. If that pops down, you've got mains power coming in, so there's no fault with the campsite. If it never pops down, then there's a problem with the campsite. And then we've got your instructions there on that part. So moving forward into the cab area, we've got open, lock and habitation door unlock. So to lock, push and it locks. To unlock, push and it unlocks. If you press open and you don't open the driver or the passenger door, which is the cab doors, the system will think you've done it by accident and will automatically lock itself. So just be careful with that. So to complete the sequence on the Fords, press unlock and just get into the habit of opening either your driver or passenger door, and don't just rely on going into the habitation door, because the habitation door won't allow the system to complete its sequence. So just get into the habit of opening and just closing that, and that'll prevent you from accidentally locking the keys inside the van. So filling, we've got your diesel filler, which is here, lockable just with this. Basically it's secure, the door shuts against this, prevents anyone from being able to open that flap. So you've got that top one, which is your diesel filler, bottom one, which is there, so I'll open that as well, which is your AdBlue. Now don't worry, it'll warn you when you need to fill up with AdBlue. There's a couple of thousand miles in there already of AdBlue, but on the dashboard it'll give you a countdown from 1,000 miles. Cab area, you've got fantastic Ford Transit storage all around, different cup holders, different bits of storage solutions, glove box and things such as that throughout there, 12 volt power sockets and things like that. Important chassis details and things are on there, and then we go around the front of the vehicle. Ford to pop the bonnet, going through here. And as you notice, you've got 1 and 2. So in essence, you basically do 1, pops it, 2 the other way, and then allows you to pop the bonnet from there. And it's all pretty straightforward underneath there, indicating your washer jets and things like that. So as we go in through the driver's door, simple operations, stepping in. We've got your Ford Transit dashboard with your steering wheel controls for voice command, for Bluetooth and quick connectivity. We've got your automatic gearbox, same as any other automatic, no left leg, touch with your right, brake on your foot on the right brake pedal, and then that unlocks it and you can use it to park, reverse, neutral, drive, or you can have it in a semi-manual operation from there. So you push that button and that enables you to go, and you've also got an indicator on there which is saying which gear you're in. On there basically it's saying what is currently operating, where we are in respect of its sequences, seatbelt not on, door open and handbrake on. Showing the level of fuel and currently showing from there. The bonnet, as we said, we just left that slightly open, so it's warning us on that. If there was a door open and things like that, it'd be warning us in this area as well. We can cycle through the radio, turn up and down from there, click mute from there, set our cruise control, cruise on and off. We'll go from there, and then we've also got testing from that on there. We've then got, on here we've got your radio. Now your radio is pretty intuitive, to be fair. You press home, takes you to your home screen. You've got DAB, Bluetooth, you've got your standard AM, FM radio. There's no navigation on this unit, but you can purchase separately an SD card which goes in the side, vehicle specific, so you can put the measurements in and things such as that. On a really clear rear view camera, automatically comes on whilst you when you put it into reverse, or you can override it by pressing the cam. One of those with this one, very much kind of have a play about with it on a rainy day and get used to its functionality, but relatively straightforward. We've got then your heater controls on here, speed of your fan, on and off from there. If you turn that on, then that automatically comes on. Direction of your fan, so we can choose to windscreen, various things such as that, direction of it. Recirculation, recirculating air inside the cab, air conditioning, and then temperature on there like so. If you ever want to heat the windscreen, then you've got that button there, and then you've got also on the Ford Transit, you can just make out the fins within there for the heated screen. Standard European indicators, so left hand side from there, and then wipers on the right hand side. We do also have automatic headlights on this. The headlights are on this side, just lower down, and we can set it to A for automatic. We don't have to worry about it. Or you have got manual control on each of those. Rear fog light, frontal fog light on there, and you can change the brightness of the control and your display on there. Also, if you want to adjust your headlights, pop that button in and you can adjust that like so. If you're ever leaving the vehicle, if you've left it in reverse or anything as such like that, it just will not let you take the key out. So ensure that you put it into park, you can then remove it and take the key out. Okay, so that's everything kind of dashboard wise. Your swivel seats on the Ford Transit, you've got two bars. This enables the seat to slide back and forth, and then you have this arm, which is here, which you may just be able to make out there, which is the arm to enable you to swivel the seat around. So don't get those confused. You've got that bar for sliding, and then the bar which is just above it, which pulls out. So that bar you're lifting, that bar you're pulling. Nice and easy from there. And then on each of your seats you've got armrests to lift those up and to set them to a position, a bit like a ratchet. Lift them up so far and then they lock in. We've got your Remis cab blinds. To open those, pinch together and pop out like so. Ensure that before you're driving that both those are located in. Very important. Very difficult to see through a windscreen when you've got two blinds closed. We've also got around this area, you've obviously got your seat belts, which are bulkhead mounted, and then on the driver and the passenger windows we've got the same Remis cab blinds which come across. Just let these fall into the position that they want to. They are very thin, they need to be that way so they store nice and neatly behind, but they are a concertina, so just let them fall in the position that they want to go. Try not to force them, they close too, and then give you sort of that effect. And then when you're letting them go back, just let them pop back ever so gently, just touch them back. If you feel as though you're forcing it, start again. Okay, so that's everything cab wise, and then we'll go into the back of the vehicle and then we'll show you all the workings in the back. Right, okay guys, so going into the back of the van, going through the habitation door. First thing we've got is this fantastic living area. These seats fold up, remove these cushions, each of these cushions, and then you can fold the seats up into a forward facing travelling position, both this side and this side. So you've got two forward seat belts with 3-point seat belts as well, by removing each of those cushions and going from there. At the end of this video there'll just be a short picture just to indicate how the seats are when they're made up, to give you a good indication. So the controls of the vehicle, we've got these main devices. So we've got your heater and we've got your main control panel. So to turn your main control panel on, we push that like so. That then turns the power on. You'll notice that this is lit up to indicate that we've got mains power coming in. If we didn't have mains power coming in, that would not light up. And going back to what I said earlier in relation to that trip switch, it's always a good test, and that's on the trip switch outside. So that's your main power on and off. We've then also got your lights on and off from here. So as you notice, that's your on and off from there. Now that also is your 12 volt circuitry as well. So there are some devices which are powered through there. So just be mindful that you cannot separately switch each of these lights on and off through different switches. But that is also from your 12 volt circuitry as well. If you're ever charging the vehicle at home, leaving it plugged in, always you must ensure that that is plugged in and that is turned on, and then it's going to be charging your leisure battery from there. We've then got next to us water pump. This water pump on and off from there. Now that's providing power to the tap, so the taps then can in essence basically start up and work from there. If that's not turned on, then your taps aren't going to work. Each of your taps have got a micro switch on, so camping mode, you'd have that light switch switched on, and then just basically when you're not using it, you'd have automatically that switched off. It just stops you accidentally leaving your taps turned on and it potentially spraying everywhere or running the tank dry. So usual operation, you'd have that on, and then finally this next light is your awning light. Awning light on, awning light off. So normal camping, you kind of have all four of those on, and then your taps would only come on and off as you use the micro switch. That's really your on and off buttons. Dead simple, dead straightforward. Next down, we've got your test switches really. These four are just test switches. So what we've got is your leisure battery. Push that, shows us level in our leisure battery, currently going up to almost full. Whenever we unplug from mains, we'd normally typically expect to see 2 green lights as a fully charged battery. When it's charging, it will have rest cycles and things such as that, but when it's charging, we'll expect to see the last 2 green lights on there. Next, we've got our vehicle battery. Currently, there's no charge going into the vehicle battery, which there isn't from the leisure side, from plugging into mains. But we're showing that we're sort of in a normal, healthy condition battery. Anything with a green light, normal, healthy condition battery, above sort of 12.4 volts. Once we get to another green light, we're at sort of 12.8 volts. And then a charging state is those last 2 green. We've then got next to us level of our water, so indicated there, and we're into reserve. We're into very minimum of our wastewater. As we fill up with water, that'll subsequently go up, and it'll hit 4 spots. So it'll be reserve, 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. And then finally, we've got the brightness of the display. Quite a common thing from a lot of people, certainly the people who are in the bed at the top, is that this is very bright. So you can actually turn that display down or up from there. So you've not got a big night light shining at you whilst you're trying to get to sleep. Next to that, we've got our light switches, which we can turn on and off from there. Next, we've got our water heater. So our water heater, again, pretty straightforward with this. Let's try and get this in focus. So what we've got a picture of a thermometer and our van. So we want to heat the van. So let's select the temperature. We want to go to 30 degrees. We push the button to confirm. We cycle this wheel to move to whichever icon we want it to go onto. So we cycle that. To confirm, we push the button. We can set now. As you can see from that, we've got a flame. So that's appeared by us turning this on. We've then got a picture of a gas bottle. Now on this model it's diesel heating, so gas bottle in this occasion is indicating diesel, indicating fuel basically. So as you can see, when I press that, it's showing that we want it to work from fuel. Now we can choose on this, it's a fantastic system, we can choose fuel, we can choose a mixture of fuel and 1 kilowatt of mains power electric, so the campsite's electric, fuel and 2 kilowatt of the campsite's electric, electric 1, so just 1 kilowatt of the campsite's electrics, or EL2, which is 2 kilowatts of the campsite's electric. So we're hooked up onto mains at the moment, so let's select that. So we've gone to EL2, and you'll notice now we've got 2 lightning spikes to show that it's working from 2 kilowatt mains electric. We know we've got mains electric coming in because we've got the green light, if you remember, on there. Yep. And then we've got the mains power also showing on here. What that will do now is continue to work to try and get up to temperature, to get up to 30 degrees, for which we've set it. We can, if we want, turn the temperature down. If it gets too hot, turn it, push to confirm, and the temperature will then heat to 25 degrees. So it's dead very easy to manipulate from that point of view. That'll just continue to work and go from there. Now bear in mind, 12 volt, 240 volt power on the main supply, it's 2 kilowatt. On diesel, it's going to get up to 6 kilowatt. So during the winter months, you'll probably want to use fuel and electric. The benefit is you're going to be using some of your fuel, but whenever it needs to do so, it'll be using the campsite's electric. So it's not going to be using all of your fuel. It's going to be using the campsite's electric as well. And if the campsite electric maintains the temperature you set it at, it's not going to use any of your fuel. So next, we might want to choose to turn our water on. Now it's very important, if you're not having any water in the system, that you make sure that it's turned off. So you can still operate the blown air heating, but make sure your water's turned off if you've not got any water in the system. So to select that, we'd go onto that icon, we push to confirm, and we can choose eco. We can choose hot, or we can choose boost. So eco, roughly about 40 degrees, hot 60-65 degrees is roughly the sort of temperature it'll get up to. Boost, it'll still get up to sort of 60-65 degrees, but it'll do so by selecting that at the detriment of the blown air. So it'll concentrate on just heating the water, and you'll get very little warm air coming through. After 30 minutes, it'll automatically default back to hot on that, and then you will start to get some warm air. So it's there primarily for if you get there, you're wanting to set up and you're wanting to have a shower, you're wanting to get hot water straight away, then that's what it's going to do. But bear in mind, it's going to take about 30 minutes on diesel to get up to temperature of the water, because it's 10 litres of water, bear in mind, that it's heating inside its chamber. And on electric, it's probably going to take 45 minutes or so. So just bear that in mind. It isn't instant hot water. It's called a combi system in the fact that it works on a combination of heating the air and heating the water by a combination of fuels in terms of electric, diesel or gas in some instances. So it's not a combi system that you'd expect as a domestic combi system. So just be mindful of that. So that you are going to have to pull water into the tank first of all, and it's going to take 35 minutes or so to get up to some form of temperature. So we've already covered that. That's our fuel choice. We can go then on to the next, and we can choose the speed of our fan. So we can go eco or high, and that's for the blown air. Lower down then we can choose to have a start time and an end time. So if you don't want to get up in the morning and it'd be too cold, you can have it come off at say 6 o'clock, switch off at then 7 o'clock. You go from there. So you've got a nice timer on there, and then also you can select the clock and you can just change the time from there to show the current time. You can then go on to the settings, which is the spanner, and you can choose the brightness of the screen, temperature, offset, language if you so wish, and you can reset the whole system. If the system ever faults and you ever get fault codes, it's always a good thing to, first of all, before you look into anything, go on to that reset, select that PR set. You'll notice then it goes to that INIT, which is short for initializing. It will then go through its reset sequence. It'll then go to off. You then must wait 15 minutes and ensure that it is a full 15 minutes before you do anything. And that'll clear any fault codes that have been stored in the system. And it's quite a common fault this with people where they'll actually unplug from mains without turning this off. Now we always advise turn the heater off before you unplug from mains. Because if you don't, what will happen is when you unplug from mains, it'll store a fault code in here. Because in essence it's looking for power, but it's not got it. So ensure that you get used to turning this off, either by selecting it so nothing's on the top display, or holding the button and turning it to a full off. If you hold it for 5 seconds, then you'll notice it goes then to off and it completely switches it off. By unplugging from mains and not doing that operation, it's going to store the fault code. It can store up to 3 fault codes. Once it gets past 3, then you're going to have to do that reset sequence. And you can either be patient and wait for that 15 minutes to go, or ultimately you may then have to go and access the actual boiler, which is located in this back area from here, where you'll then need to get access to the circuit board to press the reset button on there. Okay, so that's your controls for your heating. You've got all that set up, you've got all your lights on, you've got your heating on, and away you go. Next step is your fridge. Let's get our beers cold and our wine cold. So literally what we'll do with there, we've got our on and off button. We switch that on. So what have we got? We've got a selection. Again, we can select this. It's a 3-way refrigerator. It'll work on 3 ways. It'll work on mains power. It'll work on a battery, but only when you're driving. So your ignition's got to be running. If it's not, it's going to fault like that. Or we've got gas. We can select gas and it'll start to light and look to light from gas. If it doesn't light, it'll then fail and we'll need to reset it. To get the display back on, push that button and away we go from there. Simplest way you're running this refrigerator is by pushing the button, and then let's get it to, my fingers are cold so it's not even sensing my fingers, and then we can get it to go into automatic, and then that will subsequently go from there. And then the automatic is the simplest way. If we're hooked up onto mains, it'll run from mains and just mains automatic, and if we unplug from mains and we've got gas, it'll automatically switch over to gas. When we start our engine, it'll automatically switch over to 12 volt. So that's the simplest operation. We've then got inside the fridge, we've got loads of storage with our freezer compartment inside there. There's a little travel catch which is there, so if for instance once if you're not camping inside the vehicle and you're leaving the vehicle for any length of time, it just closes to that and it leaves it slightly ajar. It just stops any stale smells or anything like that forming inside your fridge. But normal operation, store that away like so. So you've got your fridge working, your fridge is cooling. Next thing to do is we've filled up with water on the campsite. We remove our cover from there, and what we want to do is we want to pull water into the water system. So we've moved to cold, lift, it'll cough, it'll gurgle, it'll splutter until it pulls the air out of the system through the tap, and then the tap will start to run clear. Once it's run clear on cold, which will take a couple of seconds, there's no water in this vehicle at the moment, so nothing's going to come out. But basically it'll start to run clear. Once it's run clear, you've cleared the air out of the system. Turn off, move to hot, and do exactly the same with hot. This will take probably about a minute. Bear in mind your pump is about a 6 litre per minute pump, and your water heater has got a 10 litre storage capacity. So in essence it's taking 10 litres from the cold water tank, which is located roughly underneath here, and putting it into the boiler, which is located there. So that is being pumped through. You're clearing all the air out of that boiler, and the air is coming through this tap. Once it starts to run clear, you've got a full boiler ready to be heated. If you just turn the boiler on and don't pull that through, then in essence you might get half a litre of water, and then all of a sudden everything's going to go freezing. And that's purely because basically you've not waited and not pulled that through. So just get into the habit of doing that every time you set up. You don't necessarily every time you drive to a different place if you're using it for a couple of weeks, but first operation, that's what you'll be doing, and you'll be using it from there. Once that's run clear, you can, if you want, go into your shower and do it in your bathroom and do that on the same tap, but really all you're doing is just stopping that initial glug from there. We've got your Chausson book pack in here, which has got all of your instructions in. It's got your sink plugs and all your odds and sods inside there. And then we've got your hob. So your hob, you've got 2 gas and 1 electric. And then we've got a gas grill and a gas oven from there. The gas hob, turn to large flame and push to light. Hold it in for a couple of seconds and then release, and the flame will stay lit. If the flame doesn't stay lit, because you've released it too soon. And then on the left hand side we've got your electric and that shows that it's on by indicating by that red light. Just ensure that you allow this to cool before you put your glass top down. And then, like I say, with your oven and grill, you've got one way for grill and then the other way for your oven, and exactly the same igniter. You're pushing that to ignite. This pulls out slightly just to protect these from getting too hot, so just be mindful of that. If this has been on, you've got to bear in mind these are not domestic ovens, domestic fridges, domestic taps, so you're still camping, so you've got to bear in mind that these things might get hot because they're protected and things are within a confined space. So just be mindful that those might get a little bit hot. Nothing enough to scald you, but just be mindful of that fact. When you're operating your grill, obviously do so as you would at home, with that door slightly open. Grill pan and wire for that is stored up here inside this top locker at the moment, and then also in here we've got your carbon monoxide alarm and your smoke detector, which is up there. So we've got inside the kitchen units, we've got USB charging points, which are new for this year. We've got mains power point. This is the bung that I mentioned earlier for your fresh water tank, which must go on before you operate it. This device is what we call the winder of doom. This is if your bed ever fails, basically, on electric. Now, the simplest thing is to go outside, check your fuse first of all, but you will have a key which is in there, which needs to be on position. If it ever fails and you can't get the electrics working, then remove this plastic, which just pops off, and then that slots in and you wind away, and then that winds this bed down. To be fair, the issues that we tend to have with beds is a blown fuse or low battery. If it's low battery, start your engine. If you're not plugged into mains, start your engine, leave it running for a few minutes, let some charge get into the leisure battery, and then away it goes. But normal operation with the bed, you're pushing that button and down comes your bed. Ladders are on there, and then you've also got some security if you're worried about falling out, which is in there as well. And then to pop it back up, again on the switch, and you'll see that that bed goes away like so. And that stores up. Storage underneath your bed, which is within there, and then you've got USB points up in that corner. These lights, these reading lights, are switched with those switches, and you've got one either side. Moving to the back of the vehicle, we've got your shower area, which is within here. Pop that catch off, and then we've got your big shower, which is here. I tend to take my wooden base out of the vehicle, so I'm not tempted to be walking on it, and the older the plastic gets, potential to crack it, but quite a nice feature if you're using this more as a hanging room than a shower room. Another good thing for if you've got wet clothes, this pops down and then you can use that as a hanging rail, and your wet clothes, wet coats, if you've been out walking, you can go into there. Handy tip, when you're winterising the vehicle, get your shower head, put your shower head on the bottom with that open. Stops any water siphoning back if you're laying it up for winter. This door then for your bathroom closes too, and then it gives you that nice ensuite room inside here, so it gives you that lovely kind of ensuite room. And then we've got your toilet area, sink and mirror and storage within there. More storage, which is on a magnet inside there, and then more storage below. Tap, same sort of thing, on and off from there. Now your toilet, to flush, push to flush. If your water pump switch isn't turned on, that isn't going to flush. Dead straightforward, push to flush, sprays around there. When you're using it and when you're flushing, push that lever, That opens that section, as you can see, that's opening and closing that from there. And that goes into that cassette that I showed you earlier. This will light up to show when it's full, or getting near full. Further back, if you want to seal this area off completely, then you've got these shutters. This door slides along and closes off, so then you've got a separate bedroom area as well. As I said earlier, this bed is currently in its highest position, which is fantastic for storage. Maybe a bit high for some to get in. So if you want to lower it down, lift the bed up. It's on those gas struts. And then you've got this winding handle, which is here, if you see that. And that locates in front of the bed through there. And as you can see, it goes onto that device. Dead straightforward. And you've just got details of how to do it on there. Whilst we're underneath the bed, I'll show you this feature. So those are your gas isolation valves. Those really you only need to gain access to if any of the appliances have developed a leak and you want to isolate them, clearly indicating which one does which. Now your boiler is located underneath here. You lift that, and then that accesses your water heater and your blown air heating. And then to the right hand side of the bed, we have this flap. Lift that up like so. You've got some additional storage. You've got your water pump, which is inside there. And then one thing that we've also got is your frost protection valve. Now this frost protection valve does exactly what it says in the tin. It protects the water boiler from frost. To isolate it and to stop it from draining out, you will twist, and then there's another device just on the front of it that you push. If you've not done the two operations, the thing will continue to drain down. Now you must do that before you attempt to put any water into the boiler. If you don't, in essence what will be happening is water will be coming out of the vehicle as quick as you're putting it in. That's when you turn the taps on. Also on this side, whilst we're here, we've got two USB power sockets there, so you should never go short really in terms of power. There are details of that frost protection valve and a clearer operation on another video, which is labelled Truma on our YouTube channel. On the right hand side again, staying with that, we've got our hanging space inside here, our wardrobe, storage lockers in each of these on either side. Then around the front we've got our lights. And then we've got more storage with storage shelves on this side. And then our lights, which we can switch off individually from there. We've got a powered vent with mains on and off. And then that, by twisting that, is how we open it. So nice and straightforward. And that bit. Each of your blinds and each of your windows, and doors have got blinds and fly screens. So you've got a blind from one side and a fly screen from the other. To operate those, pop it out, twist, and then that pops up from there. Don't over tighten that. It's on a plastic nylon bush. You don't want to strip the gear. And then each of your windows are locked by pushing those caps in and then popping up. They're on a ratchet again, so basically they'll stay in a position to bring you down, lift up and pop that down. And then on each of the windows again you've got a fly screen and a blind from there. You've got your table. When you're operating your table or when you're using your table as a full dining area, pop this out like so. That supports the base of that table. Also, if you're using it as another bed as well at any point, you need to do that. So on your table, on the operation of your table, you can pivot it, slide it back and forth. When you're dropping the table, push this red lever, and that enables you to then, whilst holding that red lever, push that like so. A bit difficult to do one-handed. and then you can drop the table down or let it drop up. And then you've got another lever, which is this handle, which you twist, and then that enables you to manipulate, by loosening that off, manipulate the table, make it easier to sort of pivot around and use from there. So nice and straightforward. Okay guys, so that's pretty much it with the motorhome. It's a fantastic vehicle. We hope you enjoy it. Just stay on this video just for a short time, and then there'll just be a next shot, which will be the seat made up into the travelling position, so you can correctly understand its safe travelling operation. Okay, so this is the seat in its travelling position. Forward facing seat from there. As you can see, seat belt on the opposite side and the buckle from there. Simple operation to form that configuration. Just remove this cushion. Remove this cushion like so. And then what you'll see is just the base frame of that. In essence, what you're doing is you're twisting this and allowing that then to pop down. So then it goes into that configuration. And then to make it back up to a travelling, or to a camping position, just put that back down there, and then just make your seats up and your backrests up accordingly. So as you notice then, it just starts to make shape and take shape as you put it back into its original configuration for camping. Done in seconds, ready to go camping, and gives you the benefit then of having that lovely lounge for camping and safe travelling positions. So we hope you have many a happy holiday in your new motorhome. It's a fantastic vehicle, and we thank you again for choosing to purchase it from Emm-Bee. Happy camping and enjoy yourselves.